here's the simple view of how it works. A realtor's been out with a client for weeks, maybe months, maybe sometimes longer, showing houses. And after a day of showing 18 houses to somebody, they finally get a contract on one. At that point, the next step is, let's have it inspected. Typically, buyers don't carry around a list of home inspectors in their Rolodex. It's not something they use daily. They probably don't use an inspector but once every 5 or maybe 10 years. So they naturally look to the realtor to provide a reference to a home inspector. So that's why, for me, they are number one in terms of my gate opener. Okay. The truth is, the view is really, in the real world, is really a lot more complex than that simple interchange. First of all, the realtors, this is a little bit different than somebody having a pet and looking for a pet groomer and you introducing them. Or for that matter, I introduced Tom Bunch to one of my clients last week for a new HVAC system. The realtor situation is a lot more complex. They're in an active sales transaction. And here they need a home inspection and for their client to move this deal forward. Not only that, they now have a contract, sales price, and they can calculate the commission that's going to go in their pocket as a result of this deal. Okay, so it's like I say, they're not an innocent, detached individual here putting two people together. The second point is home inspection is not about finding what's good with a home. I don't usually write how pretty the Japanese maple is in the backyard, or the rose bushes in the front yard, or how well the home is laid out. I'm generally focused on the condition of the home and what defects and deficiencies there are. So naturally, I'm somewhat on the negative side of things when I talk about the roof is leaking, the bathroom is moldy, the basement or the crawl space is wet, etc. Okay. Now, the natural result is I'm a sales inhibitor for most realtors. The inspection is going to bring up things that the buyer is going to say, do I really want to go through with this? Do I want to spend money to replace appliances? Do I want to fix a roof? Do I want to deal with leaky basements, etc. Okay? So when those questions start coming up in the mind of the buyer, the realtor can see the deal getting a little messier, a little more negotiation, a little more delay, maybe glittering out the window. So as you can see, when it comes to inspections, realtors probably have a little angst. And so when you find a friend who's a realtor and say, gee, I've got a home inspector I want to introduce you to, they'll typically jump for joy. And as my staff showed you up front, when I get a referral record that's marked member to gate opener and it's a realtor for me, it takes a lot of work to get that to real business. It doesn't happen naturally. Who's keeping time?
You're good.
Okay. So, let me give you a few things that you can put into your notes about Ron Utterback that might help make those referral records transform into real business for you. Number one, as Michelle told you, I've been in sales. I've personally closed software and hardware deals in excess of $10 million. I was managing a team one time that closed a deal, multi-year in development, with a deal that was $25 million. And for software sales, those, at least at the time, were big deals. Probably bigger than most real estate deals on average. Okay. I don't purport to know everything that a realtor does and what angst they go through and so on, but I do appreciate the fact that they're in a transaction, that it's sensitive, and that what I'm doing, I might disturb someone. I can say I will be a lot more sensitive than the plumber turned inspector or the Ace Hardware guy that's doing inspections on the side. Okay, I know what sales transactions are like. So, number one, put in your notes, thanks Aaron, put in your notes that Ron's been in sales and put that into your mix of introducing me. That may be of value to most realtors. Second is, I've had realtors tell me they like my report because it's kind of straightforward and level-headed. Okay, some of you, most of you not, I guess, but some of you might remember Joe Friday. Back in the day, Joe Friday was a detective on TV, and he would be interviewing some woman about who's a victim of a crime, and she'd be crying and telling all kinds of stories, and his line was, "Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts." Okay, that's Ron's report. It's just the facts about this house. I don't use any skulls or crossbones in my reports. I don't use any flaming containers of gas or I don't even use any red text in my reports, okay? I lay it out, here's what it is, and then I give them a summary of what I think are important things. Okay. Last point, so the report doesn't hype issues. That's one thing for you to remember when you're talking to a realtor introducer. Third thing, and that is, having been in sales, I know things can get squirrely. I never talk to the other side. I had a seller, I did an inspection last week, the seller called me a day or two after the inspection and asked me a few questions and asked me for the report. I had to tell him, not politely, that I can't talk about it with you and I can't give you a copy of the report. My client is the buyer of your home, and my contract with it, in fact, says I cannot distribute it, we cannot talk about it. So I'm not going to get in the middle of the transaction and start introducing things that might, in fact, change the way the transaction is going to be. So again, put that in your list of things about Ron Utterback that you might talk about with a realtor gate opener friend of yours that's going to end up on the referral record. All right, that's it for today. Ron Utterback, Home Presents.